Well, I am doing an interview this afternoon with another new friend of mine that I met. His name is Derek. He's from Canada. He has a very interesting blog that he does. He's on Instagram and Facebook as Young Alcoholic, and he says that he wanted to make an online community for younger people that think or feel that alcohol is having a negative impact on their lives. It caught my attention and I started following him. I like to see where he is, where he's going, and how he's writing about his adventures through sobriety. So he'll be coming on in a little while and we'll get a chance to talk to him. Oh, Derek, thanks for doing this with me. You know what? I get on all the sober sites because I like to see how other people do recovery. And I like, that everybody has a different, take on it, what they do, how they're doing it. And I saw yours and it was like, your handle of Young Alcoholic, that, and I read that you wanted to do this online community for younger people if they thought that they had a problem with drinking as you did. And you're just doing like this personal blog. And I'm not a young person, I'm 57, but I still related to it. I just wanted to talk to you. I wanted some of my listeners to know how you're doing it because everybody does do it different, Derek. There's no set way. When I first started, I was in AA and I was petrified not to go to AA. And I'm still a member of AA, but there are people that, have a hard time with it and they do it their own way. So I don't know if you're in AA or what you do, but I'd love to hear your story.
When I've been sober for just over 9.5 years. And well, thanks. Yeah. But when I first started, I was going to AA and I started in AA probably maybe 11 or 12 years ago. Okay. When I started realizing like I was having some problems. Okay. I mean, I knew I had problems before that, but then you sort of build up the courage and, what do you do for help? And back then, this online stuff was not, available. I mean, there would have been Instagram or these group things. Right. So yeah, I've kind of made my way into AA and in and out, I would say, kind of hit and miss with the month of success, month of sobriety, and then drink for 2 and, sober for a few weeks and kind of in and out a lot. And then in 2010, I think I had about 8 months of sobriety. And I was going to AA quite faithfully. A lot of the reason because I got into trouble at work. And they're kind of like, what are you doing about this? So I'm like, I'll go to AA. And ironically, though, when I was there, I realized, I relate to people here. And but at a younger age, I found it kind of hard. Like, I remember looking around the room once and no disrespect to anybody, but I was looking around this room of people and I thought, like, is this really my crowd? Like, what am I doing here? I was on the younger side of things at, 30, a lot of people 50, 60. Mm-hmm. And, you just felt a little out of place. Okay. And the realization, is this where I belong? So I had 8 months of sobriety and then I was going on a golf trip with some buddies and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to drink this one weekend. I'm not going to say anything. We're going out of town. I'll drink, leave it out of town. I'll come back and it'll be business as usual. And of course I went out of town and drank, came back, just followed me home. Missed work, it was a chaotic month and I was working 2 jobs at the time because I was doing an internship with a company and I was working my old job and I missed work. I didn't show up for a few days, like didn't call in or anything. Found myself in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. And, I just hit this point where I realized I really missed that calmness that I'd had in that 8 months of sobriety. In that 8 months, I wasn't making excuses. I was accountable. My life had calmed down a bit. There was peace. And then I found I was back in the same pile of garbage that I tried so hard to get away from. And that's the last time I drank. And I realized I had to start doing it for myself. Good. And so I did go back to AA and I went to like a local addictions help organization. Okay. And between those two, I stayed in them, I would say for AA for a good year. And then, my participation went down to, 3 times a week, twice a week, once a week.
Yeah.
And I honestly haven't been now in probably 7, 8 years.
That's okay. That's all right. You're doing it though, but you're doing it. I know a lot of people that have dropped out of AA and they say that but they don't forget what they learned there.
Mm.
They don't forget that, the tools, and when you're feeling a certain way. And, with this pandemic, I was somebody that went, well, I started only going once a week, which was, when I first started 11 years ago, I was going once a week. And then I bumped them up because that peace and calmness that you talk about was coming into my life. And I'm like, I want more and more and more because I'm, great alcoholic, we all want more. So,
Yeah, right.
You start going to more and more because that's what you crave that, and, over the last few years, I have slowed it down with going to meetings, and I go, 2 or 3 times a week, but with this pandemic, I can't go to any. And so, I'm doing a lot of Zoom meetings and, still trying to get, that connection, but, whatever works, Derek, whatever works. And I'm going to assume, when did you start this blog? Because I'm going to assume that has helped a lot. Reaching out to other people, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. I started it in 2015. Our winters in Winnipeg get pretty cold, and I was just looking for something to do. And I think to avoid doing schoolwork, because I went back to college at 30, I thought, oh, maybe I'll make a website. And it started out like so ambitious, like blog, video, health links. And I spent more time trying to figure out how to build a website than I did uploading content. So it fell by the wayside. And then a few years ago, I established Young Alcoholic, the name, the logo, and sort of built a small social media presence. And then a few years ago, I thought I'd give it a try again. I started my website on a different platform that was easier for a guy like me that's terrible with technology. But then I started doing Instagram a bit more, which I found I was connecting with a lot of people. And at first I used it as because I like to travel and I'd have all these travel photos. So I would put up like all the photos on my Instagram I took. And I'd put up a little
Beautiful.
have a sober day or some little.
Yeah, no, I love it. What else do you do for fun besides travel? Because it's fun.
I play guitar. I've played guitar for probably 25 years now. I perform solo at there's a bar in town. I play on their patio often in the summer.
Very nice.
Just
What
by
kind
myself,
of music?
like kind of blues and jazz mainly.
Nice.
But I'm very rock based, like kind of classic rock. I grew up listening to classic rock, because of my mom and that. But I do play a lot of blues.
Love it.
And not because I'm down and out. I like it.
What's your next trip planned?
Well, it was going to be New Zealand and Australia, or one or the other, in the past November. So that obviously hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So a friend and I are trying to get back to Europe. I don't know. We're maybe later this year, we want to go back to the island of Mallorca, and then we want to go to Crete, Greece, and probably the island of Malta. We're big into islands and ocean.
Derek, thank you so much for doing this with me, taking some time out of your day, just sharing a little bit of your story, letting people know that, that it is okay to ask for help. Help is out there. It does not have to be traditionally AA or NA or anything like that. As long as you're doing it for yourself and, living your life, your best life. I just love hearing stories like that because it's hopeful. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. Thanks for sharing with me and the rest of my audience, and keep doing what you're doing and continued sobriety.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on, and all the best to you as well.
You take care of yourself. Thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.